feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together, this is big thanks. Doing big things, we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general, from the front, I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap, never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Shrimp Tank, powered by Celsius Beverage. We film these podcast episodes right at the Florida Atlantic University, their College of Business, and of course with my co-host, Kevin Cox, who's a professor of entrepreneurship and also now runs The Runway at Florida Atlantic, which is home to all the incubator companies. You can tune into all these amazing episodes up on our website, shrimptankpodcast.com, and of course, catch it live every single week on our social media at Shrimp Tank Boca. So Kevin, why don't you start us out? Tell us what's going on with Florida Atlantic University right now, and then let's jump right into our guest.
Oh, all kinds of stuff. This is week 2 of our flagship entrepreneurship bootcamp program, which provides a comprehensive practical education to founders and startups who really want to grow their company. Astonishingly, we've had 126 applications to the bootcamp program and more than 80 founders on campus last week. We'll see how things go tonight. Tonight, we also have management program special event panel where a couple of our Forbes 30 under 30 alumni from this very university will be speaking across the street at 6:30, as well as a couple more seasoned serial entrepreneurs who have been through the Runway program. So that should be a fun event. There's always all sorts of opportunities for our students in the area of entrepreneurship. We like to stay busy.
You guys do have a decent amount of folks that have been on 30 under 30 list, I'm realizing.
Yeah, we've had 8 in just the last 7 years. Pretty good.
That is pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
It's like 30 people each year, right? So that is quite an amazing scenario with the incubator. Kudos to you, Kevin, because you're teaching them, of course.
All right, enough about that. Let's get into the show. We got a fantastic guest today, right? And what we like to do to kick things off and keep you guessing is something we try to instill in all our students, which is the ability to deliver an excellent elevator pitch. So rather than introduce you, I'm going to let you introduce yourself with one of those great elevator pitches starting right now.
Hello, everyone. Jessica Lynn Silva, owner and attorney of Law Office of Jessica Lynn Silva. I am Florida's favorite estate planning and probate attorney with physical offices in Satellite Beach and Tampa. And I like to help you build wealth, protect wealth, and leave a legacy.
Ooh, wow. That's a great elevator pitch. We're going to learn a lot more about what Jessica does in a little bit. But right now, we'll just play a game. So what are we doing this week?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kinsley, and today we have Kevin with us. Kevin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm a student here at FAU.
Perfect. And then today we're going to be playing Wrong Answers Only, which is the only business pitch competition where bad ideas thrive.
Kevin, you're going to be really good at this.
Why would that be?
Since you all are professionals, we're going to be hearing some bad ideas. And this is the only game where bad ideas thrive. You're each going to be given a business industry, something respectable, legitimate, and maybe even boring. And your job is to do the unthinkable, create a terrible business idea inside that industry, and convince Kevin that it'll make money. And then he's going to decide which business idea is the best, worst idea. So our example for the game is going to be, our first topic is government services. So a proposed business pitch would be a premium subscription service that allows citizens to skip lines for basic government services. This could be at the DMV, whether you're getting an idea or an ID, you're voting, or you're getting gas. This idea doesn't solve anything, but makes a small portion of people reduce the extra 5 minutes of their time. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Sounds like a good idea. I want to reduce the line at the DMV.
Now what are we supposed to do?
It sounds like a bad idea.
Okay, so I'm going
Own
to...
idea?
Yes, so I'm going to give a topic, and then each of you are going to create
that was an
a business.
example.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Each of you are going to create a business pitch, and then Kevin's going to decide which one's the best. So our first topic is education. So whenever...
I think Kevin has to go first, because he's in the education world. And me and Jessica kind of come up with a worse idea. I like this.
Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. So a bad idea for education. This is harder than the other games.
It is. Told you he'd be stumped.
But
He only
I've-
likes good ideas.
I've also heard so many bad ed tech ideas. So, education.
Well, and remember how it'll be profitable.
How
Yeah.
to be-
Think about Crocs. Like when that idea came out, Crocs sounded ridiculous. And you're like, okay, this is a one-hit wonder.
Mhm.
And now look at Crocs. It's in every mall and somehow super profitable. And no one knows how, still to this day.
Okay. I've got a pitch.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the pitch is to reduce the cost of education, but the company also will make money. So, and I'm also going to get myself fired from the job in the end.
Yes.
So,
AI.
have a company that provides business and other professionals for a fee to teach classes instead of professors,
Okay.
Okay.
right? So just professionals in their industry come, they teach the classes. That's pretty much it. You pay me for them. They're cheaper than full-time professors. Everybody wins.
And they're experts in the subject. I like it.
Very,
I do. I
very
actually like that
profitable.
too. Yeah.
1099 them.
That's actually a
No
win-win too.
W-2s, no benefits. Is that a bad idea or good
I
idea?
know.
I'm trying to determine.
I'm too
You must
good at
think it's a
this.
bad idea because you're going to get laid off.
Okay.
Okay.
My turn?
Does she get the same topic,
Yep.
education, or a different one?
Okay.
The same topic.
Oh,
and then he'll
education.
decide. Yes.
I'm going to go with the procrastination plan. It teaches you to think strategically last minute. So we're intentionally going to not find out our assignments until right before they're due. And we are going to teach you all of the delays, everything. So, and the whole goal is to teach you how to think outside the box and under pressure.
I actually used that back when I was in school.
You did?
That's I had my own version.
How'd that work
my
out for
own
you?
version. It was okay. A lot of my friends it didn't work so well for.
But that's good. It needed to be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I'm right in line. But as for profitable, it's probably going to turn into a moneymaker because the people that can't think strategically will be paying off others to either get deadlines or do their work for them. So I feel like there's still money in there somewhere.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
I'm trying to come up with something unique. Yeah, let's say testing. It's a big portion of education. We are going to allow cheating for the first time. You could bring in your phone, your laptop. Everything is open book from now on. And, it will reduce, of course, a lot of the cost involved with all the administered tests and calculations, and everything is all allowed. AI, anything you want.
Sounds great. How does this thing make money?
That's the best part. It's a bad idea. We don't know how. We don't know
Okay.
how. That's like most businesses that pitch you, Kevin.
Yeah.
But it
See?
might make money. We'll figure that out one day.
Well,
like
according
all
to
other
Robert
businesses.
Kiyosaki, there is no such thing as cheating. It's collaboration. And you find out where you're weak and you put yourself around someone who that's their strength. So that's actually just smart thinking.
There we go.
I like that too because my class is already like that. My students know it's open everything, and you better
Yeah.
use the tools, or you might not do too well. Kevin, what's the verdict?
I think the one I liked the most was the procrastination idea.
Okay.
Does that
Just
mean she
personally
won or
as a
she lost?
procrastinator, I think that I would
Oh, yeah, that's
Those are the
true.
worst
She won.
ones.
Maybe I
She
should
got
have
the
shared a little
point.
early. Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
I
I
guess
thought we were supposed to
both.
lose.
Okay,
My
good.
idea was so bad.
No, she wins.
Okay.
She
Yay!
wins. All right.
Okay.
The next subject is going to be beauty. So,
Oh.
Jessica, you might have an advantage
Oh
on
my
this
gosh.
round.
Beauty. Okay, we need
Okay.
to come up with a foundation that just automatically, when it's applied to your skin, it changes your skin tone and it covers all wrinkles and pimples. So it's to be anti-aging and flawless and dewy and fresh, no matter what. It's a one size fits all.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yep.
Good luck with all the labs trying to figure that out.
All right. Kevin or Jason?
I got one here. All right. So it's going to be like anti-makeup. All right. So it's
going
like
natural.
makeup that you wear makes you look older.
Oh no.
Yeah, all
Oh.
wrinkled, all crummy, and you wear it just day to day, right? When you see people, you're teaching classes and whatever. And when you got a big event, you don't wear any of it, and people are like, "Wow, you look amazing." There you go.
That really is
Easy.
awful. Yeah.
I'm gonna create the first energy drink for your skin. We're gonna pour
Oh.
some in
This
a
is just
cup.
a scam.
We're gonna dab it and we're gonna put it on here, and it reduces wrinkles and gives you energy at the same exact time.
His next pitch is going to be about a stretch
Okay.
shrimp,
Sparkling Celsius.
whatever's in front of him.
All right, Kevin, which one did you like the most?
I liked Kevin's the most.
I know.
And I think
same.
that
Ugh.
there's multiple uses, like even like younger kids might use it to look older. So I think it could be
help
profitable.
them get a
I also
job.
think it's a
Look at
bad
that.
idea. So
All
I think it
right.
works.
Perfect.
It's like a bait and switch in a good way. Because usually you look better on camera and then you show up and you're like, wow, this time you look awful. And then you show up and you look better.
Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going with that.
Perfect. Our next one is going to be technology. So this can be any device, platform, anything like that.
And Jason's going first because he didn't the other 2 times.
Oh, okay. Technology. Let's see. You got to think about these. They are hard when you go first because you got to jump right out of the gate.
We've had all sorts of wild technological kind of solutions pitched, typically from the scientists, our great scientists here at Florida Atlantic University, but sometimes the business side of those ideas are not as well developed or as developed at all. So it's a pretty broad sector, and I think I've vamped long enough. Jason?
Okay. We're gonna create the first earpiece that is connected from your iPhone right to your ear, and it's going to be ChatGPT in your ear. And how cool is this? It's going to help men date again. So when they're on a date and they don't know what to say to the female, it's going to literally prompt them exactly what to say to put them in a good mood. So it's dating 2.0, and it's combined with ChatGPT and AI.
I like it. Okay.
She actually likes it. This is not good.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a bad
Mine
product.
is you're going to be a chip, and it's immediately going to give you all the pros and cons of every decision you're about to make. So it'll literally, and then you'll find out if the pros outweigh the cons, whether you should do it or not.
Like an earpiece or just
No, I think it might be an embedded chip.
Okay.
It might be something we just implant somewhere.
Okay.
It's going to be in sync with you, like a life coach that goes everywhere.
That sounds expensive.
Ours is similar.
I'll
We'll work
just
together, Jessica.
Uh-huh.
I'll just use one I heard yesterday and found out about that. I guess is a product, but I thought it was a bad idea. So it's like a technologically augmented water bottle, and it pairs with your phone/app, and it tells you how much water you've had. It just sounds terrible to me and unnecessary, but I think it's actually a real thing. But I don't want my water bottle like sending me notifications like, yep, you had a little more water. No. So that's it.
Okay.
I think the one I liked the most was the chip with the pros and cons,
Thank you.
because I feel like it could be a bad idea as well, like knowing all the time, but it could also be very profitable. So I like that
Yes.
one.
Cleaning up, Jessica. You're cleaning up. You're on the leaderboard.
Perfect. Another point to Jessica. Our next one is going to be fashion and clothing. So any fashion trends, clothing pieces, anything.
Oh, Kevin, you're good at this. You're your typical Christmas outfits, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. A clothing line that sells things in like packs, right? So if you find something, it fits good, looks decent, you can just get like a 12-pack of it and wear the same thing every day.
Okay.
That works. I feel like this is something we have to take back to the Clueless movie, where she
Yes.
literally had a screen that told her works for you, doesn't. So you just have something in your closet that says time to buy new clothes. These are outdated. These flatter your body type. These don't. I think something like that, like a little flat screen TV that is with you.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jason.
We're bringing back hats. Kevin loves
Yes.
this, of course. He hasn't
This
had
came
hat
up
on the
earlier
last
today.
4 weeks, but he used to wear his hats all the time. Right. I think the next generation, we're going to put on all these unique hats,
Okay.
and it's going to be a new style that when we come to classes at the Florida Atlantic University, you're going to see the whole audience with different types of hats on. And they're going to be extremely profitable, of course, because we're going to have a whole variety of hats.
So is it going to be like name brand label hats? You know how we
Oh,
all
funky
label
hats.
check
Like
each
I'm
other?
talking like Halloween hats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
More like costumes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 interesting.
I think that's
Lot
an
of-
awful idea.
Thank you. It's going to be very profitable.
Perfect. Let's turn it to Kevin.
It's 2026. It's in.
These are all pretty bad. I guess I'll just go with the buying packs of 12.
Yeah.
Maybe people like wouldn't do laundry and just throw it away. Buy like
Oh,
multiple,
yeah.
throw it away. So I guess that one wins.
All right. Look at
Good
that.
job.
We're tied. Do we have any more?
I'm
Yes,
doing bad
we
at
do.
this.
So
My
this
ideas are
is
too
going to
good.
be the tiebreaker. Our next one is going to be health and fitness.
Okay.
So eating, working out, yoga, meditation, anything.
Okay, I'm going back to my chip inside my body. Every time I take a spoonful of something, it's going to tell me exactly what to do. Stop eating it, put it down, or continue. I want my life to be a lot easier, where I don't have to make these decisions anymore for myself.
Okay. I'm going to mix mine with therapy. It's going to be cardio and crying. So when you go to your cardio spin session, you just let it all out. All the frustrations, all the thinking. So it's like a
Cardio
nice
and
little
crying.
sob fest.
So would they be playing sad music?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they'll build you up with motivational things at the end. So you walk back out positive. So it's kind of like, cardio plus counseling and everything all in one. Time blocking.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is for when you don't have time. You have any time to work out, but we know it's really important. It would have to be some sort of contraption that enables you to work out while you're asleep.
I'm in. I'm buying that.
Some robotic.
Wow.
You wake up fit.
Wow,
You wake
the
up fit.
technology and the research for
Okay.
You
that.
do fitness in your sleep. That's genius.
Wow. You're going to have
Yeah.
to help monitor the heart rate. That could get dangerous real fast. But
It's that good.
Oh, I'm
It's that
asleep.
There's
good.
What do I
potential.
care?
It's that good.
Wow.
All right.
This one's a tough one. They're all,
bad.
yeah, I don't know. I like the spoon like telling you when to like stop eating.
Okay.
I think it's like a horrible idea, but I think it could be like something that people would use. So.
All right. Well, tie goes to the guest. So Jessica's our winner today.
Aw,
Perfect.
thanks, guys.
Kevin,
Thank you
thanks for being a
guys for playing
fantastic
wrong
judge. You
answers
killed it.
only.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. That was a hard one this week.
That was.
That really made us think. So, Jessica, tell us a little bit more about your backstory. Before you gave your 60-second elevator pitch, but there's a lot more to your story than just estate planning. I think you left a couple chapters out, right?
Just
All
a
the beauty
few.
pageants you do, book
Mhm.
author, of course, public speaker, of
Mhm.
course, now influencer, right? You do a lot of different things.
So taking it all the way back, I am a mom of 3 and a grandma of 3. So I'm married. My husband's retired military. I grew up poor. So I was one of those ones that looked like a nerd. Everybody made fun of. Arrived in cars that, people gave you because they felt sorry for you, didn't have air conditioning in your house. And I became a mom at 18 years old. So at 18, I was a single mom in the 90s. So it was not accepted. So you go through some shaming, and I knew I didn't want to be a statistic. So I went to a university close to my house, took an entrance exam, aced it, and went into my first college degree. I now have 4 college degrees, but that was the start of my path. I worked my little butt off. I commuted 3 hours round trip, worked full time for a law firm, and went to college at night. So that's kind of where the path. I met and married my husband 4 years later. One of the perks of working for a law firm is they handled the adoption complimentary. So that was really awesome. And then I have faith. So for me, everything is prayer and things like that. So as the doors opened, I just kept asking the Lord for direction. So as opportunities started coming, and one of the things I want to do, you guys probably can or can't tell, but I'm naturally an introvert. So public speaking I was deathly afraid of it. And so I forced myself to go start being an extra on TV shows and taking acting classes so that I could force myself out of my comfort zone. So anything that was kind of what I saw as a negative, I would try to face it head on instead of cowering back. And then I wanted to turn around and be that example to others. So anyone that was in my situation, or they felt lonely, or the person that was the wallflower at a party. And so I started becoming known as the master connector. So where I am in the counties and cities that I live, I'm kind of known as the person that can connect you with someone in 5 minutes, because I love that. I just love community, connection, helping everybody be able to rise up. So I live in Tampa and Viera, but I travel. I'm in Miami every week. We're talking about getting a place here, my husband and I, because we travel here so much. And I did the 4 degrees, 6 years. I started my own law firm. Before that, I worked for a lottery winner attorney. So a lot of our clients won the lottery. So that was fun. It also was very eye-opening to realize how people go from poor mindset to abundance of wealth, but their mindset hasn't caught up with their checkbook and they don't know how to handle that type of wealth. So that comes with its own different situation. So that's kind of what birthed the whole trying to teach people how to build wealth, but also how to protect it and then have something left to actually transfer to those you love in a legacy. And so that's kind of where all that. And before that, I worked for a judge for 4 years. So that's probably me in a nutshell.
Wow, that's intriguing. So I didn't know there was such a thing as a lotto winner attorney group.
Yeah.
That's its own kind of intriguing story. I'm guessing many of the students aren't too familiar with the law you practice and your practice does. So you want to tell them a little bit about the types of things you do, maybe a little bit about the day-to-day and what that really looks like for you.
I do estate planning and probate. So what that does is I help set you up for success, so that I do power of attorneys, trust, wills. I'm pretty much essentially trying to set you up to avoid the probate process. If you did not meet me beforehand, then I also do probate, where I'm helping navigate, like you've inherited wealth or you've died and you have a bunch of wealth that needs to go. And I navigate that entire process through the court system. So I do what I can to advocate, to minimize damages. I am also a Florida Supreme Court certified county mediator. So I do a lot of mediations. So I love the win-win approach. I don't love litigation. I try to tell people I like everyone until you give me a reason not to. And I like to be super friendly, but I can be not so friendly if I need to in the courtroom too. So if I'm in it to win it. But otherwise, I do like to find where we all walk away as winners.
Can we break it down even simpler?
Sure.
Because so often people that are listening or students hear probate, court, wills, and most people say, "Oh, I don't need a will."
I know they avoid me like the plague.
I'm not over 70. I don't need that. It's not for me. They have children. They still think it's not for them. So just give us the 101s on what you just said.
If you're 18, you need an estate plan. Once you turn 18, your parents don't automatically speak for you. And that's because the courts don't know if your parents are your best friends or your worst enemy, or you've escaped a traumatic environment. So they want a piece of paper. It's called a durable power of attorney. That's who's allowed to handle your finances if you're not able to. And they want to see a healthcare surrogate medical power of attorney that says, if I'm in a coma, I went skiing in Colorado, slipped and hit and fell, here's who I want to speak on my behalf. Here's who can talk to doctors, who can authorize surgery. Those type things are super important. They become very crucial when you're older and you lose capacity, who's to come in and take care of you. Because some people come in to take care of you because they love you, and some come in to take care of you because they want control of the kingdom and they want to bleed all your assets. So there's a fine line there. If you're alive and competent, you get to say who those people will be, who you love, who you don't. And then we make them into legal enforceable documents. And then same for your children. It's super important for my young families, because if something happens to one or both of you, we want to know who can come immediately, take custody and watch out for your babies while they're already going through a traumatic time. So we want that to be someone that you trust and that they have the same values and morals that you do. So it's really easy to do while you're alive and competent. It is very chaotic and expensive and life-changing if you wait.
Okay, so I got another question relevant for the students, right? So let's say they're 21, 22 years old. They like an extreme sport. They heard what you just said. and they're thinking, I'd love to do that, but I don't have any money, especially for a high-powered attorney. In the age of AI, which I know is a little bit dangerous when it comes to legal and other kind of services where you can draft a document, like Rocket Lawyer's a fair example. You can draft a document and then get a review by an attorney for not that expensive. What would you advise somebody who, they're not that concerned about it, but again, maybe they do some extreme sports and they're like, well, just in case, let me get those fundamentals. How's a cost-effective way someone like that could go about it?
Okay. So the chat is usually a couple years behind. So do not trust. An attorney got disbarred for using chat to write his motions and quoting statutes that didn't exist, and he got caught.
It's not great with citations and bibliographies. I've noticed that as well.
Yes. So it'll give you the basic understanding, but do not count on it. And it's usually a couple years behind in the actual law of what's current. The others, I do get hired and retained multiple times to review the do-it-yourselfers offline. And most of the time I do find mistakes quickly, or I'll talk to the clients and ask them what their intentions are and then show them where the documents they did do not match up with their intentions. So military, they usually, your legal offers the basics like printed out for complimentary. I personally offer military, police, and firefighter discounts in my firm because my husband's retired military, my son was Navy, now a firefighter, my daughter-in-law's Navy, and my other son is cyber. So I'm really big in just showing respect to those that are fighting for us. I do a lot of things like today. I do a lot of free speaking engagements, and I welcome everybody to come up and ask me questions about their situations and things like that. There's something called attorney-client confidentiality, so that you can't always be too personal in an open forum, but there's always ways. And typically when I'm in something like this, I offer complimentary consults after the fact, and that's kind of what helps get it going for cost effective. But we're not as expensive as you think either. It's like anything I tell people, there's Walmart and Louis Vuitton. So there's choices out there. You just choose which one you want.
All right. Great advice.
Thank you.
And talk about growing the business. You talked about connecting people. You have a passion for it. A lot of people go to school, they become attorneys, and unfortunately they fail when running their own practice.
Yes.
Right? They work for a big firm and they say to themselves, oh, I'm giving up so much of the profit on every deal that I make. I could go do it on my own. They go on their own. All of a sudden, no one's going through the front doors, and then they go back to working for a big firm. So kind of explain kind of how you've built your practice over time, how you've got people walking to the front door to work with you.
So when I worked for a judge, I was always known as the nicest JA across Florida because I really, again, like to. So I'd always have chocolates and tissues because we did criminal, family, and civil when I worked for a judge. So it was a lot of people going through a chaotic time. When it came time to start my own firm, people remembered that kindness that was just done and they wanted to see me succeed. So that's, again, where you're just sowing into your relationships and your reputation, just it's its own billboard and helps you tremendously later in life. I actually didn't put much thought into starting my own firm. I literally just was not happy where I was. And I walked out on one day on lunch, called a friend and said, I don't know what to do. I don't want to stay like this. And he goes, just go quit. I'll take you to dinner. I'll give you the basics. And that's literally how I started my law firm. My father-in-law believed in me and gave me 6 months of overhead, and I never had to touch it, which it's sat in savings, which always meant a lot to me. One, that he believed in me, and two, that I never had to actually use it. To that point, it's actually another thing that I do is I coach people that want to create their own law firms. Because what happens is a lot of people, when they graduate law school, they'll be $250,000 or more in debt. And so they go straight to working as a prosecutor or a public defender. They try to get their feet wet, and then they realize how much they're working, or they don't like litigation, the constant fighting. And so that's where they usually around a year 1 or 2, they'll want to start getting the itch to create their own firm, but they don't know what to do. The networking, the business, the marketing, the staff, how to hire. So that is where I actually coach people in their first 90 days to set up all of it, even down to the details of how should your waiting room in your office ambiance be to attract people. So that's a really fun idea.
What it even smells like, right?
Exactly. All of it gives a soothing In one of my conference rooms, I still hold to where I have chocolates and tissues, and I have a sign that says you're exactly where you need to be. And you would not believe how many people come in my conference room and start crying when they see that sign. Just because I usually always have people when they're an emotional change in their life.
All right. Well, before we go to some student questions, let's hear one or a couple of those lottery winner stories, if you can tell any of them. What is kind of, I don't know, the wildest purchase you've seen, the wildest approach just in general, or decision? I mean, I gotta imagine you've seen some interesting things with lottery winners, right?
One of them, she played for 30 years and she told everybody that she was going to win, and she did. She won part of the 1.6 billion in 2016 after playing for 30 years. Another one is they were supposed to go to a music conference 2 weeks later in their local town. So they had told us, I don't want to collect until after our concert because we don't want everybody to know. So we were like, sure, that's no problem. But just consider that you've just wasted $250,000 in profit for waiting those 2 weeks. And they're like, forget the concert. So it's stuff like that. The one that always makes me realize mindset wise is we had a gentleman that wanted to trade in his old Chevy pickup truck. He'd won hundreds of millions and he wanted to go trade. And he's like, can you believe they only wanted to give me $1,000 for my pickup truck? And we were like, and then he's like, and I wanted to buy the Cadillac, but they were charging too much. And we're like, dude, you have hundreds of millions of dollars. Give away the truck and just buy what you want.
Yeah.
Like their mindset just doesn't realize. And then money is different. So some love it and everyone comes out of the woodwork. So everyone's your best friend. So some can handle the fame, some do not. Others, it gives them a fear. It's like they start like retreat actually because they're afraid too many people know. And then others, like some of our clients, they use it for good. There's things that they've already had on their mind. They literally had vision boards that if they won, what they would do with it. And they just go put that into practice. They immediately start businesses, nonprofits, hire teams. And those are the ones that you can tell we're really preparing for it. And that doesn't cost you anything but time. So all of you could start now. And the one thing I've learned is anything is truly possible. And I love the Nelson Mandela quote that says it always seems impossible until it's done. And so I've seen that over and over again in my life. So every single one of you has the same potential that any of us do.
Okay, so let's tell another wild story, right? You deal with estate planning, right?
I do.
Sometimes people pass away and they have no one to leave funds to. You've heard stories, on the news. They left it to a cat. They've left it,
They make Netflix movies out of that.
Of course. So there's wild stories where, Taylor Swift has a song, right? Like they left someone out of the will as an example, right? And laughing when they passed away. So do you have any ridiculous stories that somebody came to table thinking one thing and it was completely different? Kind of share the craziest one.
Well, some of the sad stories too are ones that did not do an estate plan. So the ones that they spent $300 million, and there's actually famous singers, if you Google them, I believe Prince is one, where hundreds of millions of dollars get spent in court costs because they didn't have a will or a trust. So it goes through that. I know I was particular on a case where everyone thought she was poor and she didn't like her family. And she did a will, but when she passed, her friend went in the drawer, took the will and mailed it back to the attorney who drafted it, not realizing that attorney had closed up shop. We'll never know where that original will is. Oh. And what happens is when that gets lost, then you go under the intestate statute. So anyone that could have inherited has the potential to come fight it. So we had the two charities and friends that were listed in the will coming forward. And then we had family members that she couldn't stand coming from all over the world fighting for it too. And what they didn't care until they realized she was worth $5 million. And so when they thought she was poor, they could care less. But when they found out the inventory and the value of her assets, they came from everywhere. We had people saying they were part of the Holocaust and should be entitled. And it was crazy, the hearings we went through. And all those type things could have. The sad one that made me sad was a lady, because what happens is a lot of older clients, they don't always get remarried or they do stuff, but they like to buy a house together with a friend. But if they don't have a will or a trust saying who it goes to, and they don't have joint ownership, then it's going to go under the intestate till they find family members that have the right to inherit. So this little old lady, her friend passed away, so her half of the house was going to these 3 grown men that she had no idea who they were, and they had the right to force her out of her home or buy them out and all that. And so that one was really heartbreaking, because one simple sentence of the way she took title or one will would have changed that whole game.
Yes. And I'm in the financial service world, so I've
Oh,
seen
yes.
a lot of this as well.
Mhm.
I've seen clients, of course, go through divorce,
Oh,
then
yes, that's a
remarry,
big one.
new family, has children, ex-spouse had no children. And certain states, it matters with life insurance on the beneficiary
Very
line.
much.
Some you could actually go to court and reverse it. Other states, if it's below a certain amount,
Yep.
it sticks, it stands. So I had a
That's true.
client that said, I was listed. I guess
Yes.
I'm entitled.
Yes.
And I'm looking him right in the eyes. I'm like, is he really saying this right now? Like, he had no children with her. It was like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And the other person remarried with children. I'm like, I was speechless that he was taking the money and the children were young, right? Where the person definitely could use the money. They were not wealthy individuals where you could say, well, they're worth $20 million. No, like they could use the money.
No.
And beneficiary designations don't change, as you know. And unfortunately, it is what it is based on law.
Money and
So
power
it's-
change people. I see that every day. So money just exasperates what kind of person you are. And so that's kind of why you've worked really hard to build your assets. So I want you to leave them to whoever it is you wish, and be very clear of who you don't want to ever get a hold of them. So it's really simple to do, even if that's your cat or your dog or your ferret, and it is. Whoever's the guardian of that animal is very, very happy, because they feel the dog should have a 5-class trip to Hawaii.
Okay, this segment of the show is students are going to come up and ask you questions. So feel free, line up right here. If you have a question for Jessica, and of course, you could talk to her about her book. You could talk to her about the pageant side. We haven't even touched that side of things. Right? She does a lot of different things when you look at her social media. Come on up.
Well, I had a question about your education, but now I'm interested in your pageant. But first, we'll start with education.
Sure.
You said you got 4 degrees.
Mhm.
What are the degrees?
Sure.
What did you know you always wanted to be in law?
I
did
have
that
a
go?
doctorate in law, so my Juris Doctor, and then I have a master's in counseling. I thought for a brief moment I was going to be a psychologist, and then I realized I don't think I want to just listen to people complain for 9 hours a day. I wanted to actually solve the problem, so that's kind of where I switched. And then I have another undergrad in business administration and paralegal.
Interesting. Thank you. And then can we hear about your pageant?
Yeah, I'm the current reigning Mrs. Hawaii International, and my daughter is actually the current reigning Miss Florida International. So we will be going to Chicago in July to compete for the actual international crown as well. So we represent our platforms. Mine's financial literacy, which is right, and my daughter's platform is advocacy for animals.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're
Congrats
welcome.
too.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name's Justice. I was just curious, was there like a moment, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but is there like a moment in time that like something emotional that made you want to do like estates and stuff, or was it more based off of just the person you are and you want to help people?
No, that's a great question. So I've been in law 26 years, and I always remember that because my oldest is 28 and I started when he was 2. And I've done civil, criminal, family, PI, which is personal injury, all the car accidents. I did insurance defense. And then I also have done my estate planning, probate, and lottery winners. I knew very quickly I didn't love the world of litigation because you have no nights and weekends. And a lot of times they plea out the morning of. You never really know if your client's guilty, not guilty, but you have to advocate for them anyway. So for me, I just felt like my estate planning and probate, I'm helping people, I'm making a living, and I'm also making a difference and helping them fight for their hard-earned assets. So it just felt like a win-win-win.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I had a really similar question. I was going to ask why like estate planning and like wills and everything and not torts, because I'm looking into being like a lawyer.
Slip and falls.
Slip and falls and like especially like malpractice and things like that. Why not those? And is there anything that like kind of like just pushed you away from those?
Nope, not pushed away, and I actually mediate a lot of those. So, and I try to joke and tell people I can mediate a multi-million-dollar tobacco case, and they're more civil than a family divorcing. So yeah, I usually have deputies outside my doors and screaming matches. I had a case where I was supposed to be mediating, and we didn't even make it to the elevator before the death threat started. So it was just a world that I love it. And a lot of my friends are prosecutors. So we have the best lunches and I hear all the stories. I just didn't want those stories to be my day to day. So I felt like I had enough of it when I worked with judge and those type things. But no, there's a lot of money in the slip and falls and the medical malpractice. And I still reap the rewards of those by sending referrals. So I referred a case for a car accident where the person ended up handicapped. They immediately severed her spine as soon as she was hit, and she's never been able to walk again. And when it settled, I made $72,000 just for saying this is the best person to connect with. So I still get to reap some of the rewards of that, but without all the other parts.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. I guess with the increasing cost of education, and for many of these students, this is sort of their first step. And if they're ambitious as you are, and seek further degrees in the future, is there anything within the estate process that where they can start estate planning, or their families can start estate planning, so that all their monies are not just drained into educational
Well,
costs?
I have to tell you too, my 4 degrees, I actually graduated every degree debt free. So I either had really great grades, I worked hard, or I was a military spouse for one. And then even for law school, it's funny enough, I was working for the judge at the time, and I was like, Lord, you've helped me get all my degrees for free. I would be really cool if I could have law school covered. And no lie, a week later, my prosecutor walks in. He's like, hey, Jess, how do you like your law school being paid for? I'm like, excuse me? He goes, yeah, you work for a judge, you get the tuition waiver program. And I'm like,
Wow.
sign me up. So there is a thing in Florida that if you work for a college or a state agency or a judge, they will cover 6 credit hours of law school every semester. And then you can do that slower route, or you can hustle and just pay the extra credits yourself. So there's opportunity for starting for their estate plan. I have a really kind heart, so I'm an easy sell. So if you tell me a sob story, or if you're young or you need something, I do a lot of pro bono for like domestic violence victims and young people and things like that. So there's a whole section of my law firm where I just give free advice and free documents.
Right, but I guess within like creating a trust or what have you, are there mechanisms in the estate planning process, that can preserve assets versus it being drained, like through student loans and what have you, and tuition costs?
Yeah, so student loans are typically, I think, the one thing you can't even get rid of in bankruptcy. So that's kind of a caution for people to be aware of. It's kind of, there's always the sayings about that. At 18, you can get a school loan, but you're not even allowed to drink or get a gun and stuff yet. But you can put yourself in debt that you don't even realize what you're doing. So those, even what I told, I was one of those, I'd rather always work really hard and have my school paid for. But for some, they just don't have that option. There's ask, because it also depends if you go to state or private. That's always a big deal too. But there is usually a lot of grants and scholarships and opportunities. There really is like millions and billions of dollars out there where people are wanting to help you. It's the key is just finding where it's at. So that's, again, just communicate. And that's why I love the connection, because if you ask me, I'll connect you to someone else who might connect you to someone else. So like a friend of mine, Julio Gonzalez, he's Trump's tax guy, but his thing is trying to make the billionaire tax code accessible to every American. So that's his whole life mission, is to figure out, and he will do a ton of grants. He'll do everything. So those type things are just wonderful opportunities that someone might not realize unless you have a conversation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. While we're talking about connections and the domino effect, I've been known as the king connector,
Yeah.
but you are the queen connector, right? I seriously, everybody listening, she has referred me 10 plus individuals in the last 2 years. And ever since we started talking, she's like, you got to meet this person, you got to meet that person. And we refer people back and forth.
Yes.
Lots of times the next generation, everything's more data driven. It's like, oh, do Facebook ads because it supplies you these results, right? But when it comes to giving and connecting, often you can't really capture the results. You do it out of the bottom of your heart. And of course, people reciprocate over time. So can you speak, I guess, as the final part of this episode, of how important it is to give without expectation, and then also how that also impacts your overall life, and why you do it?
Okay, so what I can tell you is I am late to the social media game. I actually only started paying attention to social media and personal branding last year. So I have some really awesome connections, and you would never know it if you looked at my social on sometimes, because I just haven't. My law firm itself has always run by word of mouth referral from day one. So even my old boss, when I left and gave notice, I had brought in a couple clients and he let me take them with him. So I started with like a couple small ones and kept growing. So I'm very big in relationship building and organic. It is the slower route, but to me, it's the stronger route. I've actually never done ads, so I'm not, but I do have a friend, again, the connection thing. I have a friend that aces at them and she swears they're the best things in sliced bread. So I love just people. I feel like we're in a world where there's so much communication, but not much authenticity. So people look like they've got it all together, but inside they're starving for actual quality. So I just really like going back to the basics of speaking, getting to know people, connecting, inviting, those type things. And from that naturally comes business. I joke and tell people I came to Miami for friendship, and it turned into where now within the year, I'm going to create a whole entire brick and mortar office here because business just grew. I had no intention for business to grow in this area. I was completely great in Tampa and Vieira, but it naturally just grew just from giving and relationships and friendships. And so that's kind of where I would tell you to invest your time. Be very careful of your inner circle, though. Don't let everybody speak into you, because it is. But those type things would be. And then for a marketing plan, I did just recently write, because I'm going to be speaking on something called the Millionaire Playbook. And I had to I created another digital product called the Millionaire's Marketing Plan. So if any of you want that, feel free to DM me on Instagram, and I'm happy. My husband's a graphic artist, so he designed all the cool designs for me. So
sweet. Well, it's been our pleasure having you speak here today. Remind the folks where they can track you down on the internet and otherwise.
My website is officialjessicalynn.com, and my Instagram is jess.lynn.silva.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us here on the Shrimp Tank today. Everybody tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Take care.